Welcome to the In Love with PMDD podcast. I am your host, Rose, your PMDD relationship expert. I have personally been suffering with PMDD for over 15 years and spent so much time desperately trying to navigate my intimate relationships, going from breakup to breakup, thinking that everyone else was the problem. I am now married to an amazing PMDD partner thanks to the PMDD-specific relationship tools that I have developed over the years, and now I am here to share them with you. Because I know that there is not much research available to PMDD partners, I am now dedicating my doctorate practice specifically for PMDD relationships. I am a traumatology doctoral candidate, and each week I will be providing PMDD partners with my signature PMDD trauma transformational tools on how to effectively navigate an intimate relationship while having PMDD, so that you can avoid the patterns of breaking up with your partner every single month, and you can finally have the supportive relationship that we all desire and deserve. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. Now let's get into your weekly dose of PMDD relationship tools. We got this. Today, I want to talk to you about how to free yourself from PMDD guilt. We have all been there where we have said things, that we have done things that are below the belt. We feel horrible because we've come out of PMDD. We no longer feel how we felt when we were in PMDD, and we've said just horrible things to our partner. We've done horrible things to them, things that are so out of character that it's really beginning to mess with our head about how we are, who we are as a person. And we're carrying around that guilt even after PMDD has left us so much that we've not been able to enjoy our good days because we're constantly thinking about all of the things that made our bad days. And our partner is holding us accountable for all of those things. So it keeps reminding us of what we did and what we said. And we kind of don't want to think about it because it seems so out of character. It almost seems like a completely different person. And I want to let you know, this is why we have this mentality of disassociating from who we are when we are in PMDD and we are out of PMDD, because once you're out of it, you're out of it. You don't feel those ways. You don't identify with those feelings, those thoughts, those emotions. So when you try to have conversations with your partner about things that you've said and done when you're in PMDD that you don't really feel at the moment, it's really hard to even defend yourself because you don't feel that way. All you feel is this guilt for being this horrible person. And you feel like maybe they should just be single. Maybe they should just break up with you. Maybe they should just leave you, because knowing that you're capable of doing and saying all of these horrible things to someone that you love and adore makes you feel like this horrible person. And it can make you show up in your relationship in a completely different way because you're at a point where you're just overwhelmed with that guilt. You don't have an explanation. So many times when you're in PMDD and that ego is there and you're feeling all of that rage and those negative emotions, you have a comeback for everything that you're saying and you're doing. You're kind of like explaining it with this rationale that's going on through your mind. But when you come out of PMDD and the symptoms are no longer there and you're just loving your partner and you start to feel bad for them, you start to feel sorry for them because you remember what you put them through. Living with that guilt can cause you to not even show up for your partner in your good days because you're feeling like you're not worthy of having this supportive partner. You're not worthy of having this loving partner because of how you chose to treat them. And I want to let you know, from someone who suffers from PMDD every single month, that the thoughts and the feelings that you have during PMDD, they're very real in the moment. So it's not something that you can just come out of and snap out of. I know so many times when partners are just finding out that you have PMDD, they're like, if you loved me enough, you would just fight through those negative thoughts and believe the best about me. You would treat me how you would, if you were not in PMDD. You should be able to fight through the symptoms if you really loved me. So they begin to question your love, question your loyalty, question your dedication to the relationship because they think that you should just fight through it. And it's something that you have control over. And I'm going to talk to you about some ways to get out of that PMDD guilt so that you can show up your best with your partner when PMDD is not there, because it's a very limited time. So for me, I know that I have PMDD for approximately 14 days out of the month. And then for 14 days, I don't have PMDD. So if I spent these 14 days when I don't have PMDD feeling guilty and feeling all of these negative feelings, and feeling like I can't just show up to my partner and be authentic and be open because I'm feeling like I'm walking on eggshells because, something I said and did, then that's going to mess up even my good days. And before you know it, PMDD is going to be back. And so all of the effort that I would have spent on repairing all of the damage that was done during PMDD, I don't even get to do that. And what happens is your partner is now accumulating months and months and months of that trauma. And they're going to get burnt out because they're never getting you at your best. So a lot of times what's keeping these PMDD relationships together is that when you come out of PMDD, you're able to be loving, you're able to show them a glimpse of who you are and how they fell in love with you and things that they love about you. But if you're filled with guilt, you're never really showing that to your partner. And so they're never really getting healed. They're never really recovering from what happened in last PMDD cycle. And then guess what? You're going right back into another one, but you're going right back into another one stressed because when you go into PMDD and you haven't gotten rid of that past guilt, even you're showing up differently. You haven't restored your vision of what you think your relationship is, who you think your partner is. And it's not crazy. You're not crazy for not being able to get past this guilt. I want you to know, like from a practitioner's point of view, only sociopaths are able to completely avoid guilt. Those are the only individuals that can do harmful things to other people and not feel guilty about it. So the fact that you feel guilty is actually a good thing. It's showing that you are a good person. You have feelings, you have intuition, you have discernment. You're able to be compassionate to the actions that you've taken. So don't think of guilt as like this bad thing. It is actually a good thing because it's reminding you that you are a good person because you do feel guilty about the things that you've done when you've been in PMDD. And so feelings of guilt are distressing and draining, and there doesn't seem to be a cure. So you've done things and said things that you regret, and you're uncomfortable without an obvious solution. So what can you possibly do about it? So I want to give you some strategies and some things that you can do to get rid of that PMDD guilt so you can start showing up as your best with your PMDD partner. So the first thing is determine if you should feel guilty. So when we're thinking about the things that we've said and done within PMDD, I want you to think about what is the reasoning that you're feeling guilty? Did you literally say things that are below the belt? Or did you say things that needed to be said, but you just said them in a bad way? Right? So many times we get into this thing when we get into PMDD where we're not able to hold in things like we normally do. So a lot of times when we're not in PMDD, we kind of brush over a lot of things that bother us. We brush over comments that bother us. We brush over like actions that are taken that may offend us. But during PMDD, we just take it so offensively that we just go off. And perhaps it's something that you really haven't set a clear boundary about that truly does bother you. And so it's a good thing that it actually came out, but yet you just handled it in the wrong way. And a lot of times we're bottling up things when we're not in PMDD just to keep the peace. They tend to come out during PMDD because we don't have that filter. So the first thing is to just really determine if you should feel guilty, or is it perhaps a good thing that those things actually came out because they needed to be said. Your partner needed to hear it. They may not have needed to hear it in the way that you presented it, but it's information that they didn't know and it needed to be said because it's an issue that you needed to deal with. And that's a lot of times what happens with my clients in my 2-month private PMDD coaching is we bring up a lot of things in a safe place to where it doesn't become a guilt-ridden thing. It doesn't become a bad thing to bring up things that you disagree with. But it's like, hey, I really am thinking this thing. I'm really not satisfied with this part of our relationship when we're in PMDD, and I want to deal with it. And it's in a completely safe place versus you bringing it up and doing damage to your PMDD relationship. So if you haven't, click the link in my bio, gone to my website, www.inlovewithpmdd.com, and grabbed one of your spots for my 2-month private PMDD coaching. Slots are very limited. We're getting to the end of opening sessions where I'm going to be closing it down for a couple of months. So if you don't grab your sessions now, you're not going to be able to work with me one-on-one for the next couple of months because all of my attention is going to be given to those slots for those individuals. But if you know that it's things that you need to work on because you're feeling just completely stressed out and heavy with this guilt, you need to go apply to work with me. I am now presently working with one-on-one with PMDD sufferers and also PMDD partners, both individuals one-on-one and then also together. So it's just a matter of customizing what works best for you and your situation. And that's the beauty of working with me with this private coaching is we develop a plan. Each couple is different. Each couple gets a customized plan on, are we working together from the beginning or are we working one-on-one with both clients, and then we're finally working together to come together with a plan. It's all about what is going to give you the best results to create that blueprint for you so that you know how to manage PMDD on a month-to-month basis. So it's giving you the foundation to have a relationship and navigate PMDD. So the next step that you can do for your guilt is you can learn from it. Okay, really think about, why do you feel guilty? Obviously, you said and done things that are below the belt and they're wrong, but once you know why you feel guilty, you're in a position to benefit from it. And this is going to ensure that you don't repeat that behavior in the future. So what you need to do is think about why you did what you did, why you said what you did. If it doesn't make sense, then you can just start to envision yourself acting differently next time you're in PMDD. Because once you bring attention to something, once you kind of like shine the light on it, then the next time it happens, you can kind of stop yourself and be like, oh, it's happening again. With my private clients, I have a word that they can use. It's kind of like, oh, this is, happening again here, release the Krakens or whatever it is that's going to stop you in your tracks from going down that rabbit hole of saying and doing things that you're going to regret later on. And you need to really visualize you being in a situation where you're triggered. And then what does it look like for you to behave differently? What does that look like for you? And it's different for everyone. For me, I know that when I'm feeling very triggered, my thing is to just not speak because I know what's going to come out of my mouth at the time that I'm feeling triggered when I'm in PMDD. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be nasty. It's going to be below the belt. And by me giving myself those 90 seconds of just like, okay, I'm going to count to 10, 11. Actually, you always hear like count to 10. I've literally counted to like 16, 17. So it's not about the number. It's about pausing your reaction to give yourself time. And what is going to begin to happen is you're going to view that thought that would have came out of your mouth. And then when you view it, I name it, I call it out and be like, that's disgusting. Because when you haven't said it yourself and you kind of view it, you're like, oh my gosh, that's so horrible. Like, that's so rude. And for me, that's like what I say. I'm like, oh my God, that's so rude. Even if it's something that I thought about saying, and I'm just like, that's really rude. Like, I can't believe that I was going to say that. And then once I allow that to pass, I'm addressing it, I'm giving it attention, and then I let it pass. So the next thing is recognizing that some guilt is really not serving you. It's really unproductive, right? So there's no benefit sometimes in feeling guilty about something if there's no reason to feel guilty. So if your partner did something that is genuinely rude, if your partner did something that is genuinely wrong and you reacted to it, I need you to recognize that you only played a small part in it. It is not completely your fault. Sometimes we're taking full responsibility for our reactions to things when it is a reaction. Like your partner did something, your partner said something that triggered you. That is the way, like recognizing the reasoning behind it. Don't take on all of the guilt. And that doesn't mean to go and blame your partner for their part in it, but it is about recognizing that you are not the sole person that is responsible for all of the horrible things that have happened. Like just because you have PMDD doesn't mean that you are the only reason that you have issues in your relationship. PMDD has a way of bringing out things that would have came out anyway. They just come out in a way uglier way, a way that is way more raw, but it's not about bashing yourself because you're talking about things that need to be talked about. So if it's unproductive because it's fully directed on you and your partner also needs to take responsibility for their part, don't take the whole responsibility of something just because you had a part in it. Right? Just because you did something and your response was maybe worse than theirs doesn't mean that they're any less liable for the damage that's done in the relationship. I tell this to my partner all the time. It takes two to fight, right? I'm not in this alone. They're not in this alone. Both of you need to take responsibility. So you may be feeling guilty because you're feeling like it's all on you, and that's not true. It is never all on you. If you all are fighting in your relationship, the problem is not just you. The problem is the both of you. And the both of you need to do the work. And you both of you need to invest the time and the effort and the resources to fix it. Because it's not going to magically fix on your own. That's why I have my 2-month private PMDD coaching, because I know that even if you listen to this podcast week in and week out and you look at my posts on Instagram, if you're not following me on Instagram at In Love with PMDD, you need to. But even if you do all those things, until you do the work on your specific relationship, there's possibly going to be things that go wrong. And that's understandable. That doesn't mean that you're not meant together. It doesn't mean that you're bad people individually. It doesn't mean that you're bad people as a couple. It just means that you don't have the right tools for your specific relationship at the moment. So I don't want you to give up because you're feeling frustrated, because you're feeling like, oh, being that this is not working, then that just means we shouldn't be together. No, because if you have PMDD, anybody that you're going to be with is going to have to do this work. So if your partner is not willing to do it, and if your partner is saying, that's it, I'm out, they're losing the best parts of you. And I believe that they know that because that's what's been causing them to hold on for so long. But the best parts of you are beautiful, valuable. It's something to fight for. You are something to fight for. You are worth going through the work. You're worth the work in this relationship because of the partner that you are on your good days and because of the partner that you are on your bad days, because it's the yin and the yang. It's about accepting the whole person, and the whole person, you, the PMDD sufferer, is the person with PMDD, and that is enough. And it should be enough for your partner. And the next thing I want you to do is apologize, right? It can be as simple as saying, I'm sorry. There's so much power and accountability, and it's also so much vulnerability and accountability. I know for my partner, if you listen to the past couple of episodes when he was on here, his big thing is just be accountable. Take ownership of the things that you did wrong, and then the partners need to do the same thing. So it's not about you, the PMDD sufferer, taking responsibility for the whole thing. They need to take responsibility as well. because everybody plays a part. But when you apologize, it's taking the boxing gloves off. It's lowering that defensiveness. It's lowering that feeling like your partner is the enemy. And it's just like, you know what? I was wrong. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. And when a person is saying to you that they're really sorry and they wish they would have done better and they want to do better, you have a lot more compassion. You're a lot more open with them than if they were just still trying to make their point and prove that they're right and defend themselves. And so the next thing is accept that you feel guilty. Acknowledge your feelings and the pain that goes with them. Accept that you made a mistake and realize that it will pass. Feelings like guilt are temporary, but if we try to avoid them and pretend like we're not guilty and just keep going on and keep existing within the relationship and acting like we're over it because our partner wants us to be over it, but we're really not over it. I've told this to my partner plenty of times. And it's because I'm really vulnerable with my partner because they're really vulnerable with me. So it makes it really easy because we've created that safe space where I just have said, like when I'm coming out of PMDD and I have a clear mind, I'm like, I'm sorry for the things that I said and did during PMDD because I know that it was below the belt. Like I should have controlled my emotions better. Like I just know that that was not, it made you feel bad. And I'm really, really sorry because I don't want you to feel bad. So when you're doing this apology, you're stating what you did wrong, and then you're also acknowledging your intentions. By acknowledging your intentions, it means like, I never want you to feel bad. I never want you to feel neglected. I never want you to feel abandoned. I never want you to feel disrespected. And I'm really sorry that I made you feel that way. That's not my intention. Everything that happened was me and had to do with what I was personally going through. It didn't necessarily have to do with you, but you're the closest one to me. And that's why all of the aggression, all of the anger, all of the rage, all of the below the belt comments, all of everything got taken out on you, but it really had to do with me. And you know what happens? My partner says, okay, I forgive you. And he says, you know, I can see that because and I know, think about it. I know there has been times when your partner has said and done some things to you when they're stressed out because of anything that they've been going through. And they told you about it and they lashed out on you. I know that they've done it. It's what couples do. Because here's the thing, you're the closest one to your partner. So anything that happens, you're going to get the brunt of it. You're going to get the first, the raw, the real, everything that's going on. So don't think that just because you have PMDD, that it's like, oh, you have this special thing that is super, super cruel to your partner. It is in the way that it's delivered, but it is instinctive to go off on the person that is closest to you. So the fact that you went off on your partner, it's okay. Just apologize. Own it. I want you to own it. I want you to own it. I don't want you to think about everything that they did to you in response to what you did to them and use it as a protective mechanism to defend what it is that you did. I wish I could repeat that, but you know what I mean. I don't want you to take their reaction to everything that you initially did to them and say, oh, it's fine that I did this because you did this. So many times we're in PMDD, we hold on to things. And a lot of times what we're holding on to is their reaction. So there's a difference between someone poking someone emotionally, pushing them, provoking them to do something, and then judging them on their reaction. And a lot of times as PMDD sufferers, that's what we do. We say, oh, I did this because they did this. Well, what did you initially do? Let's go to the root and figure out how things were originally. And a lot of times PMDD is to blame, but you can't say, oh, it's because of PMDD and think that they're just going to be like, oh, okay, it's PMDD. So that's why you. You cussed me out. That's why you brought up some below the belt comments. That's why you pushed me. That's why you did all of these things. No, it's about taking full accountability, and that's it. Whenever you say but, that means forget everything I just said. You can't say, I'm sorry that I did everything but blah, blah, but I'm in PMDD. No, I was always taught when you say but, you're discounting everything that you said before because it's an excuse. I messed up, point blank, period. That's what you need to say. I am sorry. I should not have treated you that way. I'm not saying that you have to grovel and beg and keep repeating yourself, because a lot of times partners don't want to hear you apologize again and again and again. And if they do, that's the ego. Anytime I've wanted to hear my partner like grovel and apologize, I'm in the ego, and there's nothing you can do to satisfy that. So if your partner is requiring that you just keep apologizing and groveling and making you feel lower and lower and lower, there's no end to that. They're doing that because they're bitter and they're angry and they're trying to get back at you. And making you feel low is getting back at you. So you need to get off that train, because there's nothing that you're going to say and do that's going to help them get over that. So if that's how they're reacting, then that means that they're trying to pay you back. If your partner is treating you like crap after you've apologized, they're still angry and they're trying to get you back, and you just need to give them time. I've been there, my partner's been there, and I've recognized it. Like, man, I've taken ownership, I've taken accountability, and you're still treating me like crap. It's because they're still angry and they're still bitter, and they're trying to punish you by saying, yeah, I'm treating you like crap. Now you know how it feels. And when they're in that mindset, there's nothing you can say or do. You need to give them time to heal. And you can't fault them for it, because you're the one that caused them pain, but you're not going to be able to bring them out of that. So please don't keep nagging them and saying, oh, is there anything else I can do? Because all they're going to do is they're going to drag you through the mud, make you feel like crap, and they're going to feel good about you feeling like crap. They're not going to feel any remorse, because they're going to remember how bad you treated them, and they're going to be like, I'm justified. Right? So the next thing I want you to do is forgive yourself. Even if the other person won't forgive you, you can forgive yourself. I want you to be kind and gentle with yourself, and understanding that reminder, you have PMDD, you didn't ask for this, you have a disorder, and it freaking sucks. So I want you to give yourself some grace and say, you know what, I'm doing the best I can. And even when I'm not doing my best, I'm going to try my best in the future. But I need you to forgive yourself. Every single month when I come out of PMDD, I have to do that for an array of things. A lot of things that I just have done and said, even if it's small, even when I'm working on myself and I'm having the best PMDD months where I feel like I'm really in control, I still do things that I don't mean, right? This is a continuous process, but you have to forgive yourself, because if you keep beating yourself up, it's just going to eat you up. It's going to eat you up. And the next thing is, I want you to let it go. Once PMDD is over, you've apologized, you've changed your behavior, let it go. At that point, what is the purpose of carrying around that guilt? Go through a process. I do this with a workout. I literally go into it like, I know I really messed up. I effed up, as my partner says. He says the real word, but I go into my workout, I take a deep breath, and I let it out. I let all that anger out, because what I'm really angry with is PMDD and the fact that it made me do that. And then I just have to reframe my mind and say, you know what? I'm going to let all of this anger go, because I can't keep it with me. I can't hold on to it. And then the next thing I do is I just have gratitude with saying, I should have done this. I know that I should have done this. I'm grateful that I have the self-awareness to know what I should have done. And next time I'm going to do better in the future. And that's it. And I have to really believe that. I have to really believe that next time I'm going to do better. Next time I'm going to do better. Not thinking that I can go back in time and recreate history, because you can't. You cannot. But you can say, next time I'm going to do better. So I want you to really embrace what I'm telling you about letting go of this guilt. And it's something that is so important within PMDD partners, because we go through this every single month, and guilt can really pack up. It can really pile on top of each other. And I'm going to create a resource for you. If you're following me on Instagram, DM me the word guilt. GIULT. I'm pretty sure you know how to spell it, but I'm going to give you something that's really going to be able to help you with the guilt that you're carrying on when you're in PMDD, as a resource for you, so that you can move forward with a fresh slate, with your PMDD, with your relationship with your partner. And for you PMDD partners that are listening, the ones that are not suffering with PMDD, I know you have a lot of guilt as well, because I work with you one-on-one as clients. There's a lot of guilt around not being able to help your partner, not having the resources, not getting it right, trying to do things right and not getting it right. And I get that. I get that. My partner has been there so many months where he's done a lot of things and they just haven't worked. And I've lashed out on him because I was so frustrated. Like, what are you doing? Like, why would you think that that would work? Like, there's a lot of comments that are made when partners are genuinely trying to do their best, and it's embedded in their mind, and it's hurtful. It's really hurtful to tell someone that's trying to do their best, they're just not getting it right. So I want you to remember your partner next month when you are saying things and doing things to them, and they're trying to do their best. You know that they don't have the tools, which is why I open up my services for you. Oh my goodness. If you haven't grabbed a spot for my 2-month PMDD private coaching, what are you waiting for? Because that's what's causing a lot of frustration within your relationship, is that you're trying to do things that aren't working. They are not working, and you're feeling guilty about causing your partner pain because they're not working. And you're talking to people that aren't giving you the tools to get them to work. And it's not their fault, but it's like, go to the source. Go to someone who knows about PMDD, who knows about relationships, so that you can get the answers and move on. It really is that simple. It's like ripping off a Band-Aid. Working with me, after a couple sessions, clients are already using the customized tools for their specific relationship. And then it works. And it's like, what took us so long? And I feel like so many times it's the hardest part is getting started. The hardest part is applying for my coaching. The hardest part is making the time, the investment, and saying, you know what, my relationship is important enough for me to invest in this, because I know that I will be so much happier once this works. Once I stop trying to guess on how it works, once I stop trying to Google on how it works, it's not, just come to the source. That is why I'm here. I will give you the tools and you can move forward utilizing them specifically for your relationship, so that you can stop spinning your wheels and stop doing damage to your PMDD relationship and carrying around that guilt and not even enjoying your good days. If anything, we should enjoy our good days. So if this guilt is causing you not to, you need to do something about it, because you are not in a position to risk your good days because of your bad days. Because after month and month and month of that, it's not sustainable. It's not going to last. It's not going to last. So get the help you need so that you can start getting rid of that guilt and moving on with your PMDD relationship, because you deserve it. You really, really do. And even if your partner has told you, I'm breaking up with you, it's over. I've heard it all. I've I've heard it before sessions. I've heard it during a session where the partner's like, you know what? I'm done. We've completely broken up. It's over. I don't know what to tell you. And to this day, they're back together. They're happy. The tools are working. So just because you're saying you're breaking up is not, I don't think that that's the end of it. Because a lot of the frustration about breaking up is because you don't have the specific PMDD tools. It's not because you don't love the person. It's not because you don't want to be with them. It actually is the opposite. You love them and care about them so much that you're so frustrated because you don't have the tools. And that's why you're choosing to give up, because it's such a helpless feeling. So instead of continuously getting frustrated, get the tools. Use that same energy to get the tools and actually work on your relationship and see how happy you are. Remember how happy you are when you're in your good days and work towards being like that all the time. You got this. I hope these PMDD trauma transformational tools help you and your PMDD partner. I am so excited to announce that I am opening up 10 spots for my exclusive 2-month private PMDD relationship coaching called Breakup Proof Your PMDD Relationship. Within these 2 months, I will be working with you one-on-one to give you customized strategies to ensure that you and your PMDD partner stop the monthly breakups and stress so that you can have the supportive relationship that you desire and deserve. I am only opening up 10 spots, so go to my website at www.inlovewithpmdd.com or DM me on Instagram at inlovewithpmdd and grab your spot now. It's time to start actively working on your PMDD relationship. Remember, love is not just a feeling, it's an action. And I know that your PMDD relationship is worth not only saving, but working on so that you both can be at peace with your PMDD relationship. If you found this podcast helpful, please comment and leave me a 5-star review to help other PMDD partners find our episodes. With all these tools and support, this is how you can help support the show and other PMDD partners. For everything that as PMDD partners go through, we should not have to do it alone. Until next time, remember, we can have the relationship that we desire and deserve while having PMDD. We got this.